All of these pots, all of them, have the exact same glaze on them, and only 2 of them are layered with another glaze. So we're going to talk about that glaze today. Before we do, I have a challenge for you. I want you to pause the video right here and take a guess about which of these pots has been layered with another glaze. Which ones are the layered ones and which ones are not? Put your guess in the comments below. And then watch the video and you'll see if you were right. New glaze day. I just received this bottle of Serpentine Green. In the mail. I ordered this myself from a Canadian supplier, and it is one of Amaco's new Potter's Choice glazes. So these have just been released. There's 4 of them. This one looked the most interesting, so that's the one I picked to try. It is food safe, lead-free, and I haven't seen anything that says you shouldn't use it on dinnerware. And also, I will say that the preview examples of this that Amaco have shown on their social media are on mugs. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that it's dinnerware safe. If it's not, I will overlay some information onto this, contradicting myself. This is a little damaged because one of the other bottles of glaze that came with it was destroyed in transit. There's no different information here than what you usually get, 3 to 4 coats. It says that it's a green and it breaks light blue over texture. This doesn't look particularly light blue to me, but we'll see. So I'm going to test this on a PSH Pottery Supply House 500 bowl. So this will tell us how it does on red clay, and it'll also show us on texture. I'm using a lot of examples with texture because I'm really interested in this variation here. And we'll do a small vase that is on Pottery Supply House porcelain clay. And mutt of a clay, reclaim. So this would have some of that dark granite in it, I'm going to guess, based on these little flecks. Probably has some buff speckle, some red, some white. This is just Frankenstein clay. So give it a try on that. Try it on this little cup here. I was just playing with doing some underglaze decorations. Not super thrilled about how it turned out, but instead of washing it off, I am going to glaze this one, which is Pottery Supply House 519. This is a stoneware clay, and it will give us a comparison to the bowl that I'm also going to glaze. But it will tell us, again, the texture, and it'll tell us if you can see designs through it. I don't expect to be able to. This looks fairly opaque, but we'll see. And if we can't, then it's no great loss. And then this bowl here, nice, healthy S-crack in the bottom of it. So it's a throwaway bowl. If it turns out, then I'll use it to, I don't know, hold candy or something that doesn't need to be waterproof. All right, let's get to it. That's super white. I wasn't expecting that. Interesting. I mean, we all know that glazes change when you fire them, but I am, as always, going to do some pouring. I've come prepared this time. And I'm going to use this to hold the pot while it drains out. That's terrible. But you know what I mean. It sounds terrible. that I don't have to continue holding that. On it goes. We'll do some brushing while we're waiting for the cup to finish dripping out. A smallish fan brush. Should I pour it on this one? I am going to pour it on this one because this deep texture is hard to get into with the brush, but pouring it does seem to work reasonably well. So. This really looks like it's going to turn out to be super white gloss enamel. So this is going to be a fun before and after. So that one's done. And you know what? This has wax on it, so I'm going to try pouring the outside on this one, which is not something I ordinarily do. And actually, I've never done it, so, you know, this could end badly. Let's see. No, I'm not going to do that. You know why? Because you guys aren't going to do that. I am going to do it the long way, and I'm going to brush it on. Pour it inside, one coat outside. This one I'm going to pour inside for, I think, obvious reasons. And I'm going to do it over this because it's probably going to be messy. And this one again is porcelain. Set this over here. Our stoneware. I'm not worrying too much about the application on this because it is a glaze that breaks quite differently over texture. I am guessing, taking an educated guess, that it's going to do better with a bit more of an uneven application to help some of that variation in the glaze come through. And if we end up seeing all my brush strokes, well, we will know I was wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. I am not going all the way to the bottom on this one because it's got quite a low foot on it, and I am not sure how much is going to run, if at all, and I don't want it to stick to the kiln shelf. The bowl itself is kind of a garbage bowl. It's really hard to tell on white stoneware if you've missed a spot. as I get to the end of this, I'm thinking, man, this was really easy. Why was it so easy this time? It's because I forgot about layering. So we're going to have to put some layers on some of these. I get so excited. The new glaze, you see. I know you guys understand. So we have 2 stoneware versions. So I think on the rim of this one, I'm going to put something. I don't know what. And maybe at the top of this guy, I'll put something else. Just for reference for you guys, I'm about this far down the bottle after doing 4 small pots. So it does go on pretty thick, I would say. I have chosen seaweed and pearl white to do the layering with. Obviously, both of them are going to go on top. I picked these 2 because they are most often used for layering. So you don't often see people use seaweed on its own, although I think it's quite interesting on its own. And pearl white is beautiful on its own on a dark clay, but it is also a really interesting flux to put on other glazes. So we're going to give these 2 a try. We will put maybe seaweed on the bowl and pearl white on the vase. And we'll see what happens. Seaweed is like the opposite of serpentine green in that it is super, super runny. So not being too particular about the line here, I expect this is going to run. Seaweed with other glazes almost always runs. I think the celadons probably are the closest to keeping it from running that I've come across, but it still does move quite a bit, even on the celadons. So I'm only going to do it on the inside of the bowl. Okay, so there's 1 coat of seaweed. Oh dear. Okay, I'm going to move this, even though it's ugly and it'll be in the background, I think. Sorry, guys. Otherwise, I'm going to knock it over. Pearl white. Now, how far down should I go? Maybe just a little ways. This little vase reminds me of I Dream of Jeannie. This little genie vase. No genie inside, though. All right, it's kind of a mess, but it's all right. Now, I'm wondering if I should have done 4 coats on one of these just to see. But pretty sure it says 3 coats of glaze. So we're going to do 3 coats. We poured it on the inside, so that should give us a good idea of whether it looks much better with a thicker application. And you know what? What am I doing? So much easier. Dunk. Et voila. Now, because pearl white is such a runner, I don't want it very far down on this. It's going to be a while before I get these finished because my little baby kiln actually needs the elements changed. And I have the new elements, but I haven't yet done it, and I've never done it before, so it'll take longer than usual while I figure it out. To recap, we have poured serpentine green on this red clay. We have poured it on the inside of this stoneware cup and brushed 3 times on the outside. We have brushed it 3 times on this reclaimed bowl. Brushed it 3 times on this little vase, and then a dip of pearl white on the top. And poured it inside this bowl, brushed 3 times on the outside of the bowl, and we have 2 coats of seaweed, and I'm going to do a 3rd off camera just to save the battery. And because honestly, once you've seen me apply 2 layers, the 3rd layer doesn't look any different. So we're going to put all of these in the kiln, and I might vary the temperature, do some at a 5, 6, or 7. We'll see see what happens through the magic of video editing. You're going to find out right now, but for me, it's actually going to be a while because I do have a trip to go on and some elements to replace before I can get the stuff into the test kiln. So I am anxiously awaiting the results. You do not have to. Okay, we have the results out of the kiln, and wow, it's been interesting. So I used the little kiln for these tests, the L&L plug-in fire kiln. I call it the baby kiln. I did that so that I could kind of have a little bit more control over the firing, because initially I was thinking, well, I would change the firing temperatures and so on. But in the end, the only thing I changed between the two firings that I did was whether the cooling was on or off. But there were some other things that I changed with the application. So there's a couple of surprises here, ones I did not glaze on camera that I'm going to show you. First, let's have a look at the challenges. Okay, so this was the cup I glazed that had underglaze underneath it. And you can see that, in fact, that underglaze kind of did come through, which surprised me. I didn't actually expect that to happen. But you can also see that, wow, this glaze blistered. Like, these aren't pinholes, these are sharp-edged blisters. This is, pretty sure this is stoneware. Yeah, this is stoneware. It's the Pottery Supply House 519 clay. Like, it's a pretty basic white clay, and I'm really surprised to see all of this blistering. This particular cup was on a shelf that went to a very hot cone 6. So here's the cone 7 cone. You can see that it started to bend as well. I did two different glaze firings because the little kiln only holds so much. Okay, so this was on the top the first time around, and so was this one. It's a little bit of cone. This one was on reclaimed clay, so it's a bit of a Frankenstein clay, and it turned out nicely. Again, blisters, not as badly as this one. Like, look at this. It looks like it has the chicken pox. See if I can get this. There we go. It looks like the surface of the moon. I mean, this is completely unusable. And it is really unusual for a glaze to react this way on a straight up white stoneware, at least in my experience. Especially because we'll get to a colored clay example in a minute that turned out beautifully. So my guess is that it really doesn't like to be fired too hot. But if you have different results with this, if you've fired it to a cone 7 and it's turned out beautifully, I would love to hear about that. This was poured on the inside and it was brushed on the outside. Both sides do have the pinholing, and you might be tempted to think that the pinholing is because it was thicker on the inside, right? Because I poured it. But I tested that theory with one of my off-camera pots. This little beauty has a poured interior, and there's no pinholes in there at all. And it has 4 nice hefty coats on the outside. It is shiny. So the reason that I did this actually wasn't to test out the pinhole situation. It was because I was looking to get this combination of gloss and matte, which I was not seeing the first time around, except for just a little hint down here. So I thought, okay, cool. If I put more on, maybe that'll do the trick. So I did, and it did. And this was fired on the bottom shelf in the second load. I did not put cones into that firing because I'm running out of cones. But the first time around, that bottom shelf got to pretty much a perfect cone 6. So I would guess, I literally pulled the first set out and put the second set in and turned the kiln on again. So I think it's fair to assume that this also got to a perfect cone 6. This is also porcelain instead of stoneware. Yeah, so thick coat at cone 6, a thick coat at a hot cone 6. I am going to put this one back into the kiln the next time I do a glaze firing, because I'm curious to see what happens if I refire it. That will not happen in time for the release of this video, but maybe you'll see it in an upcoming kiln opening video. So stay tuned. It's my requisite moment to remind you to hit the subscribe button so that you will be notified of future videos. This is very close to what I was after with this glaze. It's actually a little bit too much on the glossy side for me. There is nothing wrong with either one of these outcomes. It's just a matter of what you as a potter are after. So this was 3 coats. Again, it's that Frankenstein clay. This one was on the top shelf. So this is also a very hot cone 6. And it, like I say, it does have a few blisters, but not like this guy. I've never seen anything quite like this. Yeah, so I am very curious if Amaco has any suggestions on why that happened, or if any of you have had experience yet. Maybe not, because this is, like I say, a brand new glaze. So one more to show you. So this is the red clay example. And again, this one, pretty much a perfect cone 6. This was on the bottom shelf. This got very close to being exactly what I was after. I could have used a little more gloss down here. It's a little rough for what I was after, but I could live with this result. I was after this combination of the matte and the glossy. And this one, if I recall correctly, I poured on. So again, this would be a thick coat. Obviously, the sections where there's texture, it's going to be thicker than the sections, the raised sections of the texture. So I thought, okay, we like this one. Let's try it with some more layers. So this was an off-camera piece that I did because I was actually hoping to get this on the vase. I didn't. It's a little too glossy, so maybe 4 coats was too much. I don't know. The other thing I did was 2 coats, because I realized that, I had done everything with 3 coats or poured on the inside, and so I was missing some information. I remembered Indigo Float, and I've got a video on that one. Go check it out if you're interested. But that one, I particularly like the results I get with just a couple of coats and some extra globby bits. So I thought I would give that a try without the globby bits, because there's texture here that's going to let the glaze pool a little bit. So indeed, more variation with just the 2 coats. I really like this result. Also, what was really interesting to me was how well it did on texture. It does say that it's a semi-matte glaze that breaks light blue over texture. I'm not seeing that at all. I'm seeing a green over texture, but anyway. Amaco do say that, this breaks over texture, but that doesn't always mean you're really going to be able to see what's underneath. Sometimes it kind of obscures it a little bit and you just get the hints at the raised bits of the texture. But this does a lovely job. I have a line of spoon rests that have fiddlehead motifs on them. And typically I will do those spoon rests in wasabi celadon. I like to have them green because they're ferns, so green just makes sense to me. And I love the wasabi. It does beautiful things on carving and stamps. But I think I'm going to try a few of the next batch of spoon rests with this 2 coats and see how they sell, because this is really, really pretty. So that's lovely. But how did it do in combination? This is the example of pearl white over the serpentine green. Now, on this pot, which is again porcelain, no pinholes that I can see or feel. It was poured inside, brushed on outside, and there was again just the tiniest hint of that shiny bluey green here where it pooled. So that was another reason that I tried this pot, thinking I would get more of that in this area, and I just got more of it everywhere, which was interesting. This is quite pretty. So the pearl white gives it almost opalescent sort of a look at the top there. The layering with seaweed was a bit of a mixed bag as well. So, you get that beautiful seaweed thing that it does where it kind of runs and it merges together and it makes a whole new fascinating glaze. That's why we love seaweed, but it did pinhole. So there's a beautiful combination here, but you're definitely going to want to test this on your clay in your kiln with your firing schedule. So again, I was surprised to see the pinholing, but that blue is stunning. So serpentine green, look, this is an interesting glaze. There is so much variety in these results, and only 2 of these were layered. So all of these results are just serpentine green, nothing else. And they're all quite different. I love the variety that you can get with this glaze. It is absolutely temperamental. So I can see that there will be a lot more testing for me to do on this. The challenge with these videos is that, you have a limited time period to work with, and so you can only do so many tests. That's why I started the Studio Favorite series, where I'm talking about some of the glazes that I've used for a long time, because really over time with experience, you learn how to get the best out of glazes. And I have a feeling that this glaze might be one of them. I am intrigued by these results. Some of these I really, really love. This is beautiful. Love this. This has potential. And I feel like this is giving me some interesting information. I wonder if 4 coats with a slow cool would give me what I was after on this. So there's lots to work with here. I will keep using this glaze and keep trying new things and testing out my theories. I'm curious to know what you think. Which one of these results is your favorite, or none of them? Are you interested in trying this glaze? And do you think that I should review any of the other new glazes? I don't know. I was thinking about Tuscan Blue, but there's only so much experimentation a person can do at one time. So if it's temperamental like this one, I think maybe I stick with this one and get to know it a bit better first. But I don't know. You tell me. What do you think? If you've made it to the end of this video, first of all, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I hope that I have given you some useful information to take into your studio and some information that will help you decide if serpentine green is a glaze that you want to bring into your studio. I have a request for you. If you've been enjoying these videos, I'm going to guess you're a potter, and maybe you know some other people who might enjoy the videos. I'm trying to grow the channel, and YouTube doesn't necessarily make that super easy when you're just starting out. So if there's somebody you know that you think would enjoy these videos, that would be able to learn something from them, please share the video with them. I would really love it if you would do that and help get the word out about the channel. And if you're a potter watching this video and you're doing your own YouTube videos, I would love to see those. So pop those down in the comments below, and I will come over and check out your channel as well. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and let me know how you make out with this glaze.